Hope everyone's enjoying their Thanksgiving week. Still hanging out here in Puerto Rico. Went to St. Regis, beautiful property. I just played some golf on the nicest golf course I've ever been on. Literally in the middle of a rainforest. You really can't beat it. But one thing I want to talk about real quick. So just a quick story for you guys. Back in 2006, I wanted to try to do deals with some large companies. Companies like an IBM, HP, Intel, AT&T, and many others. So when I was first trying to figure out how to do business with these companies, I didn't know how to get in touch with them. I'm sitting there like, all right, how do I get to the right person at an IBM? And the first instinct is, okay, let me go find a low-hanging fruit, right? Who can I get in touch with IBM and work my way up? But I just knew that wouldn't happen. You're not going to be able to go up a ladder in a company like this and get to where you need to go. So I thought to myself, I'm like, well, the one thing I knew is that when a boss tells somebody below them, right, in a company to do something, they're going to do it, right? So I'm like, all right, well, how do I get to the top, right? How do I get to the top of IBM? Which is obviously not the easiest thing to do. So because of my background at the time, I had a web hosting company before that, and we sold it. What happened was I knew a lot about email marketing and a lot about, web hosting and stuff. And I knew that if you tried to email somebody and the email wasn't correct, you'd instantly get a bounce back, right? Instantly. So at the time, I'm like, all right, well, what do I do? So I searched up, IBM, executives on Google, right? And you usually see a list for large companies. So I started there. I did this with Home Depot, Apple, many companies, AutoZone, just so many different companies. So what happened was I did that, and I would email every executive at the company that was listed. At first, I had to figure out the email address. So I took one, I tried to figure out the format. Is it first name dot last name, first letter of first name, last name? Is it just the whole name? Whatever, right? Just try to figure it out. So I would do a test with one person until I figured it out, and I sit there and bounce back, and then all of a sudden, no bounce back. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got it right. And I hit him up with an offer. And typically what would happen was, typically I wouldn't get a response, right? That's normal. And then sometimes, I would get somebody respond, hey, so-and-so, please talk to Phil about the offer, right? Whatever my email said. And then I work my way down to the right person. The best one was this. I did it to Intuit. So I did it to I think it was the CEO of Intuit. The guy, I think, had this is the one that had the same last name as me. And he hit somebody up, and the guy said, hey, go talk to Phil. Guy scheduled a call with me, gets on a call, and he literally said, he goes, I know this isn't going to work with us, but because, I think it was Brad, because Brad, told me to talk to you, I'm talking to you. And that's exactly what I was doing, right? It was just because the CEO tells you to do something, you do it, even if you're like, I know this ain't going to work. And it didn't work for that specific company. But I ended up doing deals at the end of the day with IBM, Intel, HP, and AT&T, all roughly about $10 million deals each. At the time, I was doing something completely different, obviously. But the whole point of this is never assume you can't accomplish something in business, right? If you said to me at the time, hey, Phil, you're going to go figure this out, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But at the end of the day, I always believe that anything's possible. And I just knew that if I put the effort into it and I kept pushing forward to try to accomplish my goal at that point in time, I knew I'd get there eventually, right? I just didn't believe in quitting. I didn't believe that it was impossible. I didn't believe, people always say things are too good to be true. That's fucking bullshit. That's just an excuse on why you're lazy and not doing something. So just know that anything's possible. If I can, at that point in time in my career, if I can do deals with those types of companies, and you can do a deal with any company, that's the way you got to look at it. Now, of course, you still have to have a good offer, right? There's a lot of things that have to work out for whatever you're doing. But even if you're in business and you're just getting off the ground and you say, all right, I want to start, and get into the lead generation business with us, or maybe you want to do an Amazon store or drop shipping or real estate, just know that it all works, right? All businesses work. You just got to figure out how to make that business work for you, put the effort in, right? Do what you need to do to make it work, right? So that's all I'm saying, is that don't believe that anything's impossible. That's all I'm saying. anything's possible as long as you want to put the effort in. And you got to be smart, right? That was very creative on my part at that point in time. I did have some knowledge that maybe some people don't have about how email works, so kind of figured out. But that's how I've always been. I've always been, I guess you can I always call myself a professional problem solver, right? A professional problem solver. And that's really the secret sauce of being successful as an entrepreneur, because you're always going to run into problems, and either you need to figure it out or you need to know people that can help you figure it out, right? So a lot of people work with us specifically because we solve a lot of problems for them day one. Literally, you're in business day one with us. We solved a lot of problems. We took care of all the technology for you. We took care of your funnel for you, the marketing, right? We take care of a lot of stuff for you. We have a sales team for you. We take care of all those problems that you got to go figure out to launch your business. It's just done for you day one. So anyway, hope you learned something, and have a great Thanksgiving.